Hi, it's Kevin Lobates here, and today I thought I'd talk a bit about contact tracing because I read a few interesting articles on it, one by Professor Bill Buchanan, which actually goes into the mechanics. So simply put, contact tracing is an idea put forward by Google and Apple, who are working together to try to use the Bluetooth functionality of phones in order to trace whether people have been in contact or not, in order to then inform people who have been exposed to other people who are coronavirus positive that they may now be positive too, while preserving the privacy of all the people involved, because we don't want to end up in an Orwellian nightmare where companies and governments use this situation in order to get us all to reveal who we are, where we are, and when we were there, from now on until eternity. And that would just be a gross invasion of privacy. So the proposed system, I'll see if I can summarize it very quickly. Firstly, it uses the fact that phones can broadcast beacons or messages through their Bluetooth chips. So that means that anybody in proximity can pick them up and know that they were near to your phone. This is a bit like your Wi-Fi access point, which is continually broadcasting its ID. So when your friend comes around and says, "Can I connect to your Wi-Fi?" you say, "Yes, here's the ID of it," and they can spot it on their device. So it's very similar in Bluetooth. Second thing is the use of one-way cryptographic functions or hash functions or key generation functions in order to ensure that the data cannot be traced back. And the system uses a kind of form of tokenization. Your phone generates a private key that's never revealed to anybody, but it's used to generate all the subsequent daily keys and the 10-minute messages that your phone will then broadcast. Actually, the daily keys are not broadcast. And the reason why you do this sort of chain of derivations is to ensure that it cannot be traced back to you. And your phone then generates these 10-minute messages that are changed every 10 minutes and keeps broadcasting them. And then when somebody else's phone is near your phone, they pick up that message, or if you stay in proximity for 20 or 30 minutes, 2 or 3 of those messages, and stores them, and then at the end of the day sends them off to a central authority like the health authorities in order to ask, were these messages from somebody who is coronavirus positive? And if the person is not, then their daily key has not been revealed to the central authority, and therefore the answer comes back no. But if they are tested positive by a doctor, then the doctor will turn on the functionality that for the next 14 days reports the daily keys, which then allows all the people who come in contact with that person to receive confirmation that they were indeed in the presence of someone who was coronavirus positive without actually telling them who it was. And furthermore, the idea is that the authorities can't back derive who the person actually is and where they have been going and who they've been meeting. So it's meant to preserve anonymity. But of course, the problem with all these systems that are meant to preserve anonymity and privacy is that it usually gets a lot more complicated, and there are a lot more tricky things that are going on than you would at first think. So I can, off the top of my head, give a very quick example, which is if I go out just once in the day and I only meet one person, and then the next day I get a report back saying, "Yesterday you were in the presence of someone who was coronavirus positive," I know who that is, because my phone only picked up 1 or 2 of these announced messages because I was in isolation for the rest of the time, and I know who I met. So that would leak information. I've been able to deduce who the person actually was. Now, the key derivation functions used mean that I can't subsequently, if I've got access to the health database, go in and continue to track the person day after day after day. But similarly, if 20 people meet up at a party when they're supposed to all be at home in lockdown, their phones will all be sending their 10-minute messages every 10 minutes to each other, and that again would allow a central authority to deduce that a group of 20 people had an illegal meeting that they should not have been having. As I said, I haven't spent a lot of time analyzing it, but I imagine that analyzing data beyond the particular messages reported, but actually looking at the interconnectivity of them and groupings of them may be able to leak a bit more information than I personally would be happy with. So as is always the case with these kinds of systems, the initial technical solution that's proposed sounds very great, but I really hope there are a bunch of security and cryptography experts, and actually social experts, I suppose, and data mining experts looking at this very, very closely, because I think that although it does have the potential to be of great benefit for improving our health as a society, I think there are still going to be many, many risks regarding our privacy. And we're going to have to walk a very fine line over the next few months and years in order to ensure that we don't give away a lot of our very hard fought for privacy rights for the sake of trying to ensure that health can remain a priority. Anyway, again, another longer video than usual. Sorry about that. I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.